Okay, in this lesson we're going to take a further look into string skipping. We're just going to extend on the arpeggios that we looked at before, so we're going to be in the key of F sharp minor. I'm just going to show you a pattern that I do like to use quite a lot, which is something that I use within arpeggios, string skipping. I also use it with pentatonic shapes as well and stuff like that, but it's a really nice flowing way of being able to get through different scale shapes without just playing everything straight up and straight down all the time. That shape that I'm talking about looks like this. Okay, so the front half of that lick is pretty much what I'm talking about, this. Okay, but what I like to use that for is within string skipping. So starting on the 12th fret of the low E, we're going to have this. Okay, so that's where the string skip comes in, skipping over the D string and then coming back on yourself. So hammer on from 12 to 14 on the low E, then 12 to 16 on the A, hammer on 14 on the low E. Then upstroke, hammer on from 12 to 16 on the A. Okay, so that's the pattern. Okay, so that 14th fret on the low E string is what's known as a hammer on from nowhere, which means I'm just hammering on with my left hand onto the fret without any interaction with my right hand. So, but in order to get that note to ring freely, you don't want to leave any fingers on the A string, because you're going to get that kind of horrible dissonance that you don't want. You know, if you want to kind of practice it like that, and sort of the stuck record lick, if you like. But you can practice that over and over. And then basically you're going to skip over the D string and do exactly the same thing an octave higher. Okay, so 14 up to 18 hammer on, and then hammer on 16 on the D. Okay, and then skipping over the B string, you're going to go to the 14 and 17 on high E, which is your arpeggio that we looked at. Okay, so that's where that comes from. We're just adding in that 14th fret on the D to hammer on onto the 16 and then do our normal arpeggio. Okay, so that's a good way of starting on the low strings, getting up into that string skip lick. So, okay, and then we can extend that up even further into the next octave and play that standard kind of triangle shaped arpeggio. So 22 high E, 17 on the high E, 19 on the B, and then 18 on the G. And then slide down from 18 to 14 on the G, and then play your string skipped arpeggio again. So slow, that sequence that I want to show you looks like this. And don't worry, there is tab accompanying this video, so you can consult that as well. Okay, so that's an extended 3-octave arpeggio using string skipping in F sharp minor. And here it is up to speed. Okay, so, you know, a bit of improvisation here and there, just kind of showing you some different applications of being able to, you know, launch from that into, you know, some pentatonic licks and just kind of extend out. But, you know, a lot of these ideas are what I use in my own playing when I'm writing or when I'm improvising as well. So, okay, the actual shape that I should have played up to speed will be this. Okay, moving on, we're going to look at the major version of that, and we're going to do that in E. Okay, and it's going to look like this. So it's exactly the same pattern, but it's just using the major version of it. So we're starting on the 11th fret of the low E string, hammering onto 12. And then 11 to 14 on the A, hammer on 12 on the low E. Again, you can practice that just on that low E string, much like you did. It's the same thing, same picking, same pattern, same everything, just slightly different fingering for the major sound of the major arpeggio. So, moving to the G string, we're going to play 13 up to 16 on the G, hammer on 14 on the D, and then re-hammer on. So, then we're going to skip over the B string and play 12, 16, 12. So, then we're going to slide up to 19 on the high E string. So 19, 16 high E, 17 B, 16 G. Then slide down from 16 to 13 on the G string, and then back up the string skipped arpeggio as far as 16 on the G. So at a slow tempo, that arpeggio sequence should sound like this. And again. And up to speed. Okay, again, you know, once you feel really comfortable with it, you know, you can mess about with it as much as you want and try and improvise and maybe, you know, suddenly change direction or whatever. You know, try and surprise yourself. Just kind of throw yourself into it. But, you know, I would suggest with any of these, just to start slow. And, you know, once you get really comfortable with it, then, you know, just speed it up. And that's it, really. You know, we're going to move this into the diminished shape now that we looked at, which was this. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Okay, so this arpeggio is going to start on the 12th fret of the low E string, hammer onto 13. Then we've got 11 to 14 on the A, hammer onto 13 on the low E. Then skip over and play on the G string, so 13 up to 16 on the G. So same pattern again, hammering on 15 on the D as well. Then you've got 13, 16, 13 on the high E string. And then we go up to 19 on the high E string. We've got 19 to 16 on the high E. Then you've got 18 on the B, 16 on the G. Then slide down to 13 on the G. Then 15 on the D. 13 to 16 on the G. 13, 16 high E. 16, 13 on the G. 15 D. And then 13 up to 16 on the G. So again, you know, it's the same pattern as before, just using that diminished shape. And again. Okay, so hopefully you can see from the examples that string skipping is a really useful technique for being able to play arpeggios. You know, we're going to take a much more in-depth look at how to incorporate that with other scales, and also, you know, looking at some tapping ideas as well and that kind of thing. But this is definitely the sort of basic grounding that you need, you know, to carry on using this technique. So, I definitely advise going through all this stuff. You know, play it slow, get really comfortable with it, and then once you're comfortable with it, you know, start to kind of incorporate it into your own playing, because that's really the only way that you're really ever going to retain any of this stuff that you know, that I'm going to teach you. Is application is key, you know. So if you've kind of learnt a new scale, try and use it as much as possible, because then it just becomes ingrained into your own playing, and you know, you can call upon it as like an arsenal of licks as and when you need them. So until the next lesson, I'll see you later.